Islam is the problem, and it's not just about terrorism, although that is of increasing concern. For the past 20 years, I've been observing, studying, and interacting with Muslims and the Islamic ideology. I've visited Islamic countries, spoken with Muslims, and more importantly, met with, listened to, and assisted in whatever ways I can those who have been victims of jihad or oppression at the hands of devout Muslims. The problem is, Islam is virtually unchanged since its barbaric prophet founded it around 1400 years ago. Followers are still commanded to this day to follow the example of Muhammad with little regard to the vast differences in society 1400 years later. Muhammad was a warlord, rapist, polygamist, unmerciful, a bigot and a child abuser. He instituted a corrupted version of a mixture of other religions and violently forced surrounding peoples to convert when they refused to do so of their own accord. And today, we're reaping the consequences because we have appeasing cowards leading this country who either refuse to acknowledge the real issues or are too dumb to do so. From our grocery spend to terrorism, every Australian now has to face the ugly reality of Islam in our midst. In 2011, I launched Halal Choices, a website designed to educate and inform consumers about halal fees and practices and how they're being used to promote Islam in Australia with our everyday grocery purchases. I've presented solid evidence about the use of these funds and their contribution to mosques, Islamic schools, and charities. These organisations have been proven to fund oppression of women, gays and minority groups, and there have been proven links to extremists and terrorist groups, especially through the conduit of Islamic charities. This isn't to mention the fraud, corruption and bribery that is rife in this industry. The reality of life in Australia is now we have to deal with child abuse in the form of child brides, female genital mutilation, honour killings, segregation in public spaces, bigotry and the threat of terrorism. Our leaders are capable because they have proven too ignorant or arrogant to address the fact that Islam is not the same as any other recognised religion. We've been fed a diet of lies, including deceitful references such as Islam is a religion of peace, or these are lone wolf attacks, or he's not a terrorist, he just has mental health issues. Well, Australians are not stupid. We have spat out those lies and exposed them for what they are. We are not divisive. Islam is. We don't promote bigotry. Islam does. We are not extremist. We expose those who are. I derive no pleasure from I told you so's. I am devastated that we have these threats and terrorist attacks in Australia, knowing that they're preventable if those in authority would act. They are capable and must be held responsible. They refuse to acknowledge the truth because they would rather appease minority groups and cower behind meaningless sentiments that only serve to put lives at risk. Those of us that speak the truth are threatened and targeted by violent idiots trying to silence us. Well, we will not be silenced. I am encouraged that many media personalities are now speaking and writing the truth about Islam. I'm committed to continuing on this path, and I know that there is a better way when it comes to dealing with Islam in this country. It is not going to be with more taxpayer dollars thrown at de-radicalisation programs or counter-terror experts. Our leaders don't need to come up with more taxpayer-funded programs or iftar dinners with halal plates and cutlery. Then they need to get real and confront the reality that Islam is not compatible with Western democracy. They need to expose and highlight the Islamic texts and example of Muhammad that can have no place in our society. They need to demand that Islamic leaders do the same. We need courageous and principled leaders who are prepared to do what it takes to keep our country safe and free. That's why I'm supporting Cory Bernardi and Australian Conservatives. I hope you'll join me.